Hello everybody, hope you are doing well. Get the obligatory statement out of the way first. So today we have my oldest steam engine in my collection, which we are going to steam up. I have not steamed this one up for years, and actually many years at that. I was given this one in a totally derelict state, completely and utterly wrecked, and I very slowly and carefully nurtured and loved it up to its condition that you see here. It's a Doll, which is a German manufacturer, pre-World War II. So probably in between World War I and World War II this was manufactured. And as you can see by the very shiny bit on the back of the boiler, the sight glass and the whole back of it was extremely damaged. So myself and the friend that you occasionally see with his steam engines, we fixed this up, and it's actually got a dummy back head here. So this original back head here is fake, it holds no pressure, and you can see there was a big split, so there was no way of saving that, and there's actually a new back plate fitted to it. It did mean some of the original bluing came off, but there was little you could do if we wanted to save the rest of the boiler. This is the pressure gauge up here, and then we have the whistle valve, the safety valve here, and it works on an operated lever, so there's no springs with this one. It's just a plunger into the hole, and this just lifts up, and once the steam pressure can overcome the little lead weight, it can blow off, and we have the regulator here. This one is special because it has electricity generating device. Now I'm not sure if you'll see the light bulb today, but trust me, it does work, and it generates a whopping 2.5 volts, which is probably what it generated when it was new. I certainly do not think it generates that now. We have the oiler up here, and then we have a little mock governor, which is quite nice, where the balls will fly out. You'll see that. I'll fit might need to fit a belt to that one as well, so I will probably go away and do that just so you can see that working before we steam it. It is a double acting, unlike the Mammod. So here's this, these are called piston valves. So you usually have a slide valve, which is a flat plate, and it slides along, hence the name slide valve. These are called piston valves or spool valves, and they basically have grooves in them that direct the steam into the forward and backward sections of the piston, allowing the engine to run. It has a slip eccentric valve gear here. So if I zoom in on that, you can see the little knob there that protrudes through the cam slips. So what that allows it to do before it starts driving is that sets the timing so it can run in both forwards and reverse. Very clever, very simple, used on a lot of these toys. It's got this wonderful base plate and this wonderful stand. I mean, it really looks quite the part. And it's got this gearing ratio back here as well for extra gears, plus the flywheel that then goes and drives the main pulley. The last thing to do before we start getting her ready for a steam up is to fit the chimney, and I think you will now agree she really looks quite splendid. Okay, so as you can see, I've put another band on the governor, so now the governor turns. We have lubricated it with the bearing oil, which is also the steam oil for these little machines, because actual steam oil would block them up and they'd never run again. They don't get hot enough. Real steam oil, if you've never seen it, is like treacle. That's the best way to describe it. It's like kind of golden syrup or the black treacle, where it's just absolute goopy horribleness. So anyway, I have given it a thorough oiling, including the oiler, and the way you oil these is you just put a few squirts of oil in the cap, you turn the flywheel, it sucks it through the pipe, you put a few more in, rinse and repeat until you think you've got enough oil in the engine. Everything else is oiled. I have filled the burner again with methylated spirit. Next step is to fill the engine. So with some very noisy but quite pleasant birds in the background, I am back with some hot water. So we put our little dinky funnel in and we start the process of filling her up. Let me tell you, the cleaning I'm going to have to do after this makes it a nightmare. Oh, we're almost at the top. So what you have to do with these kind of engines, if they don't have a sight glass, is you fill them to the brim and then you syringe out 1 or 2 syringefuls, and that's because you actually need a place for the steam to build up. If you just fill it full of water, you end up with a hot water vessel, and there's no pressure that can really build up, so you'll just push water out everywhere, because as we know from primary school science, fluids are not compressible. So there you go, you can see we're up to the top with water. So what I'll do off camera now is stick the syringe in there. The boiler is already too hot to touch, which is excellent, but I'll stick the syringe in there and I will siphon out a few syringefuls of water, and then we're ready to light the fire. So that took about 5 minutes, and now if you look, we have some pressure in the boiler. So we're going to open up the regulator slightly and just let the engine warm through a bit. We're going to let some, it's got a very long pipe, it goes from there all the way down through the oiler to here. So we're just going to let that warm through. You can see her kicking a little bit. You can see the frothy oil coming out the spool valve. So we've got steam and we've got oil, which is great. You can see how the safety valve works. So, right, let's open up. You've got to pump the water out with the steam engine when you first start, because any steam that hits the cylinder condenses. But you can see she's starting. Almost. See what I mean about the cleanup? There she goes though, she's off. She is off. Considering how long she's sat there for. You can see the governor spinning, the generator spinning, the drive bands doing their work. We've got a lovely fire going. So that's very good. Now we've got a full 10 manometers of pressure, so we should be really good, and the engine's warmed up. So bring you back into focus. Let's open her up. And again, we've got to clear the water back out. And there you go, off she goes. What a wonderful sound that is. If I then move the flywheel a few turns that way, that moves over the slip eccentric, and if I open her back up, now she'll run that direction. So we're going to give her a little run without the light, because you can't see it anyway, and the wind unfortunately is blowing a lot of the heat away from the firebox today. So I'll just crack her open. She'll go off like a scolded cat now because she's not generating. Right, so here we go, we'll give her a little run, blow the whistle, and then we'll open up the regulator, give her a little flick. off she goes. She has a very graceful engine when she's just ticking over by herself. And so that is us finished steaming for the day. Up, as you can see, much mess everywhere. Looks like an espresso. But that's the emulsified oil. That's what steam oil does when it gets hot. It emulsifies with the water and makes a nice lubricant.